Good. So very insightful presentation, especially talking about the ease of servicing, ease of selling, as well as ease of buying, right? Net. So let's look at how technology can be of a game changer in this particular place, right? So I just want to pick brains from the specialist here. Okay, I am an accountant, so I'm not an insurance specialist. So I may not be talking sense in terms of technicalities of product creation, etc. But definitely have been in the insurance reporting space for quite some time. Okay, so let me start with Ms. Shanti Narayanaswamy, right? So I mean, we did see quite a lot of technology playing a big role in insurance space in terms of innovation, in terms of service excellence, etc. Right? Do you really think these RPAs and machine learning, etc., are going to bring in a lot of operational efficiency in the organization? That's number one. Okay, and how can we increase the adoption of the technology in this space? Right? I mean, a related question on that, right? And also, there are a lot of new developments in terms of regulatory reporting, right? Like IFRS 17 or newer disclosure reporting that needs to be done, right? So in those spaces, how does technology play a big role, especially keeping your organization in mind?
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Natarajan, for that question. And digitization has been the buzzword for almost 5-6 years now, and it doesn't seem to be dying soon, right?
Mm.
Okay, so multiple industries have got transformed with multiple digitization tools, and insurance is not left untouched. So it has cut across various insurance processes, starting from new business to underwriting to claims management. And if I have to specifically touch base on the new age tools which are currently creating buzz around, is like RPA, artificial intelligence, machine learning, right? Now, typically, if I have to sum up as to how we are using this at Manipal Cigna. So robotic process automation, I mean, if you really have to look at it, the way it's basically you use it, to identify your repetitive tasks, okay, and where your manual, efforts are still going on. Now, this is something, which falls between your automation and, certain things which are still done manual, right? So you identify those repetitive tasks and, you try to automate them using your bots. Now, these are simple tasks, right? For example, I'm sure every organization, faces this uphill, problem, routine problem, I would say. Each department will have at least, one guy who's, still creating dashboards, even if your entire reports, are automated. Okay, primarily what you'll be doing is, download 2 reports from your data lakes or your reporting solutions, and we'll be doing a VLOOKUP, and, we'll be doing some slice and dice. Now, whether this is really required, maybe the answer is no. But normally the IT teams also have a laundry list of items which they have to prioritize and deliver. Now that is the place where the RPA really plays a role, right? These kind of repetitive tasks which your operational users perform, not only operationals but even your sales strategy teams. We've seen a lot of sales strategy teams downloading reports and further slicing and dicing and further disseminating the information to the various sales hierarchy. Now these are simple tasks which we have automated using RPA. Now this actually allows your person to perform value-added task. Recon, I'm sure most of our operation department users, they perform a lot of recon-related activities, right? Similarly, finance, okay, a lot of recons. Now, these are simple, tasks which can be automated using RPAs, and I think we've progressed well with those. Recently, we've RPA, if topped up with a slight a bit of AI, I think that's icing on the cake. Recently, we automated the replies from our customer care inbox, right? So to manage our customer care inbox, we had 20 plus customer care executives actually looking at all those emails that you get from the customers and reply, right? So we've automated those replies and we've topped it with a bit of AI and ML, okay, so that the last 6 months of emails that we've actually received, okay, so those were learned, okay, and the models are created, and now we are in a state where the most of the customer care, okay, the standard customer care queries of what is my sum insured, or they want their policy document, okay, or they want to check where their where exactly is their claims, right? So these kind of routine queries have been automated using RPA topped up with a bit of AI, and this has actually resulted in getting our customer care executive numbers from 20 plus to around between a 5 and 10. Now this actually saves a lot of money, right, and which can actually be used for other productive purposes. So RPA, I mean, yes, driving usage is important because most of the times RPA is seen as something, which is going to replace people. I mean, that's not the case. So when you're enforcing or when you're driving a project like RPA, the message has to be very clear as to, what is this going to, what critical or what strategic change is, that one is going to get by implementing RPA. So it's important for you to drive that message clearly between your employees so that, it's taken in the right spirit. From an overall digital adoption per se, what I would feel is, you have to keep your journey simple and, easy to use. Otherwise, your customers or even your internal employees, I think the problem will be with respect to usage. So the Mool mantra is to be as simple as possible and easy for use.
Thank you.
I think the last question was with respect to IFRS.
Yeah, so latest regulatory changes as well. Right?
Correct.
So how does technology help there?
Right. So I think with to primarily answer with respect to IFRS, currently I think we are in the process of doing a gap study, to all the data dictionary so we've received a complete set of data elements that, we will require with respect to IFRS implementation. Now I'm not getting into the technical details of it. There are multiple models which the insurance company will have to see to which model they fit into, whether it is PAA or GMM. Depending on the product line that you have, the IFRS implementation will have to be done. So the important aspect with respect to that is, to look at the data elements that will typically be required with respect to IFRS implementation, and that's something which we are currently into. PAA is relatively simpler, and I mean, I can take a bow and say that, most of the current core applications will support most of the field requirements, but GMM is something which I believe that, some kind of work may be required onto your core systems for capturing your fields. So I think we're preparing ourselves from that perspective. So we're doing a study with respect to the various data elements required and gearing up for any changes or, solutioning that we will have to do with respect to our core system solution.
Thank you, Ms. Shanti. Thank you very much. Thank you. That was very insightful. Of course, the RPAs, etc., are going to increase the efficiency and thereby increasing the effectiveness as well. So moving on to Ritesh. Ritesh, the brain and brawn moment of truth was really very, very good. The insurance sector in India, right, definitely is poised for very high growth, right? But it also comes with a lot of challenges in terms of reach to tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 kind of cities. So 100% digital versus you still require a lot of direct personal touch as well to reach to larger audience, right? So how do you think technology can help in this, in terms of harnessing this growth in India market?
So these are very interesting times for the insurance sector, and I guess instead of calling it BFSI in times to come, we'll call it IFS and B probably, when it comes to technology innovation that happens. So there's, at one side you have the Vision 2047, which says insurance for all. And that basically means it's not just the tier 1 and the digital that we are so proudly talking about. It's also about addressing the tier 2 and, as was pointed out, insurance still means Jeevan Suraksha or Jeevan Bima to some extent. So it's digital and physical all working together, and phygital being the mantra. So insurance industry is also moving from operation-centric to experience-centric. And it's that uniformity of experiences that will make a difference for anyone from a longer perspective. So while we talk about portals, mobile applications, and things like that, to produce as much of data as possible for individuals in tier 1 cities and the millennials, then there is the aged gentleman like myself who would probably still figure out how to go to a broker and help me out with what to choose. So it's the technology element that comes in order to figure out how a portal interaction and how a physical interaction would give the same experience to do two different profiles at the end of the day and personalize the overall journey for both of those. So I suppose things like RPA, while they address the operation side of things, there is a lot of investment happening on the insurtechs and fintechs in order to make the journey simple, straight through, and probably instantaneous during the different life cycle of onboarding, servicing, and claims.
Thank you, thank you. I mean, your presentation was really very insightful as well, you know, in terms of getting the moment of truth. Thank you. Moving on to Dr. Syed. Okay. Sorry. See, product innovation definitely has improved with the digitization, right? Like newer products or, you know, conceptual products, etc. So from that perspective, you know, I mean, in fact, even as a personal insurer, as a personal insured, right? I come from Singapore. There are products which gives me a lot of incentive in terms of having a dash cam, then the premium reduces, or they link up with the police department to ensure that my records are clean in terms of driving without any points, etc. Then my premium reduces. So a lot of innovative things that has come up to benefit the insured, right? So concepts like usage-based or demand on demand, is this reality in India yet? Or I mean, is your company devising newer products like that?
Well, so I come from life insurance background, so but I'll give you a perspective on usage-based insurance. Yeah. So clearly, the use case that most of us are aware of is the motor insurance, where you can see that your insurance premium amount would vary based on the behavior of driving, and so on and so forth. I think using that telematics devices is something which is not so much prevalent right now in India, but very soon regulator is probably going to kind of make a push on that, because it's something which is very much happening in different parts of the world, and customers want that, because the different ways the driving happens, the amount of time spent on the road and in the parking and different areas, and all those driving behaviors. Clearly, customers would want personalized kind of premiums, not the single one kind of premium for everybody. So I think that usage-based insurance, especially on the motor side, is something which we are going to see pick up very soon. It is not picked up that much. There are some insurers that have come up with the products, but adoption probably and education about that is not that much. When it comes to need-based, insurance, I think a lot of personalization is already happening. I can talk about life side as well. There's a lot of personalization that is happening when people are being offered, life insurance covers. Like the simplest one, traditional one, is that there's an assessment done in terms of an application form asking certain questions, and then you mostly would classify lives either as a standard life or as a substandard life. So that's the most simplest form of this thing, but that's not the real personalization. The real personalization is happening by using a lot of digital data available in the ecosystems. For example, right now, it's not something which is for the future. Right now also, a lot of life insurers, I can talk on behalf of life insurers, are already generating personalized pre-approved sum assured offers. PASA is a buzzword in the insurance industry. And these personalized offers are basically derived based on getting some information about, not only about health, but about other aspects like sleep data, activity data.
A lot of data
stress.
goes from.
A lot of this,
this
comes from these devices, and it is being used right now. It is being, and we are today able to classify lives not only substandard and standard and substandard, but some lives are classified as preferred lives as well, who are better than the standard, which means that the offer for them in terms of the insurance premiums is going to be more sweeter and more simpler than the general population. So that personalization is probably the key as we go forward, and we are already seeing that happening in various companies right now in India as well. I think even in our company at Tata AI, like we are continuously working on seeing how much we can use these digital tools to make the offer simpler, personalized, and relevant to the millennials as well. A lot of, a lot of clutter also in that space in insurtechs. I'm sorry, my tech counterparts may not like that, but there are too many of insurtechs, fintechs coming up. But I think it's good. I think that filtration will happen. People who are relevant, the solutions that are relevant will stay, while as the others may not. But clearly exciting times ahead when it comes to use-based insurance as well as the personalized insurance in both life and general space.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I'm sure data is the key in this, right? To get the personalized data in a safe and secure manner as well. I mean, not to intrude into the privacy of the individual, but at the same time make it more price sensitive as well as context sensitive for the insured is more important, right? So from that point of view, right, I have a question for Kiran. Challenges and considerations, right? See, there are some special considerations that needs to be done from insurance sector, right? You cannot simply gather data about anybody personal so quickly, right? A lot of governance, cybersecurity risks, and probably a lot of investments have been done in legacy systems which are not ready for innovative products like this, right? So from that point of view, what are some of the practical challenges that you see in this digitization, and how do you think we can overcome?
Thanks for the question. So insurance companies handle large amount of data, and even if you look at the systems are absolutely complex. On top of it, we are talking about adoption of the hybrid cloud, multi-cloud, and then the SaaS applications, which is more of the environment has been evaluated by the business functions rather than the technology functions altogether. So this is absolutely adding to the top of the complexity, and that is actually making it far more difficult to really protect the systems and the environment of such complex environment perspective. So the challenges which you said are absolutely common for most of the insurance companies. One is the legacy system. So we still have a legacy system while we are talking about personalization or hyper-personalization, but that's more from the API end, from the other side of this business, which the customers are able to see. But if you look at the backbone, the back end of the technology, which is the core, it's still the legacy. It's still the monolith. And that's where while we are investing heavily on the cloud and making microservices, event-driven architecture, but the backbone is still the monolith. So I think that is one thing. Other is in terms of the operational issues, in terms of getting this monolith and the microservices driven architecture integrated with each other is quite difficult. It's not that in terms of the giving up the real-time experience. We still, insurance industry still operate on the daily batch operations. There are 6 to 8 hours of the operations when the businesses are put down to ensure that the batch operations really work out. Other is also on the digital infrastructure. Digital infrastructure, there is a big investment which is required to ensure that the digital infrastructure is up to the mark. So I think that itself also sometimes becomes a barrier as well. Another is from the skill sets. To manage this all digital infrastructure, we need to have an appropriate skill sets. So as a solution, it's a multifaceted approach which is really required in terms of from the investment which is constant required in the technology infrastructure, as well as the skill sets upgrade which is all required from an enterprise perspective.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, it's a very tricky situation to handle a lot of data, which is very good to analyze, of course, but it should be safe and secure and also collectible in a legal format from the individuals, right? So, thanks for that. I mean, continuing on this, right, a question for Chinmay. because you're head of Bharat Bill Pay, right? So this is basically the payment of premium within the time frame and making the policies active and making the overall interaction in terms of payment, in terms of coverage, in terms of renewals, etc. to be on time, right? Requires a lot of multiple ecosystems to work together, right? So a lot of interoperation between multiple, not only systems internally, but also externally, right? So how do you think, digitization and this transformation is going to help? No, your mic is not working. Try that.
Hi, is it
No.
better? Now it's...
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Okay, so first of all, let me thank everyone for making it here this morning. All of us are living in Mumbai, mostly most of us, and 5 minutes delay would have caused a lot of inconvenience to reach to this place because the rains have started. Right? I want to stress upon the element of convenience which impacts all of our lives today. And that impacts our entire closed looping of insurance payment flow as well. We all remember the days when, an agent used to come to pick insurance premium from us, or we used to visit certain counters to make that payment done, etc. From there to today, where entire interaction happens on our hand over a mobile, I use app X, you use app Y, and we would like to have entire interaction happening within that small tiny space of a mobile in my favorite app. That would require certain level of interoperability. So stepping back from where I started, if today you are paying your electricity bill or recharging your DTH or mobile via app 1, going to mobile app 2 or a mobile banking solution or internet, well, that is powered by Bharat Bill Pay. And that extends, started from 5 category, now it extends beyond 26 category today. Insurance being one of the most important category there, because taking a clue from what Ritesh said, the reach to the end user is extremely important, and it has to go from tier 1 till tier 3 city and to the remote location as well. So your reach has to be very, very important. There is a lot of brain which people like Shanti are putting to make the best use of AI and ML solutioning, so that the complex technology are actually easing down the convenience to the end user. This entire solutioning and reach actually cannot be done by one of us. We used to create an ecosystem, and that ecosystem has to facilitate. Let's understand that, no matter what kind of company I am going to build, I cannot build a company which other 20 companies jointly can reach out to in terms of end user reach. And that reach has to be created within an ecosystem. We have created that ecosystem today. We have more than 1 million agents working with us. We have more than 70 plus customer operating unit, almost around 200 banks and fintechs alike, working into that ecosystem, giving you the ease to, for an end user, if today you pay your insurance premium from let's say one mobile app, and next month another installment is due on another, you can continue doing it on another app. From there, if you'll go back to check at the first app, you'll see that the premium is already paid. That entire interoperability environment is what a customer is looking from a convenience point of view, and that's something which we are facilitating along with solutioning like auto pay, recharge reminders, premium reminders, etc. in the flow of offering convenience to the end user.
Thanks. I'm sure it would have been a very challenging task to mobilize the data across. And okay, good that you have done it very nicely. This is for Dr. Sanjay. Yeah? So actually, this new age technology is evolving in general insurance sector, I would say, right? So, and you are from the contract lifecycle management. We saw how the contracts are going to be more complex based on personalization, etc. So, how is it impacting the claims lifecycle management and efficient fraud detection?
Thank you. So, let me put first 2-3 perspectives. If we look at the regulator, the way the regulator has expectations from the industry today, the 2047 expectation of higher penetration, and of course it's going to scale up the industry to the next level. Just day before yesterday, we had a master circular coming out from IRDA, 38-page master circular giving impact on across all lines of business. So being a general insurer, since we are a multi-line insurance company, we have multiple products, there is so much dynamic complex data and so much claim to handle. So this is one side where the regulator itself is pushing for a lot of changes and is extremely, I can say, pro-customer, and is trying to open up the market and also trying to facilitate a lot of ease of business. On the other side, if you look, the customer experience has also undergone a lot of change. Today's customer is not same as 5 year, 10 year before. Today, the Swiggy Zomato experience has changed the expectation level of the customer. And the similar expectation, so he's benchmarking even an insurance claim with the same speed of Swiggy and Zomato. When abhi app mein book kiya, tumhara claim kyun nahi hai? So if you see today, so many insurance companies have apps to lodge claims, but then is the speed of the claim delivery same as of Swiggy, Zomato in few hours? That's the real challenge. So if you ask about, so these two realities or perspectives is what is really driving the change at the GI segment, I can say. And of course, technology, adoption of technology, new age technologies, digitalization is the only way out. What else could be a solution wherein you can fulfill the customer's expectations of speed, but at the same time, you also have to ensure there's accuracy in your claim payment. Just because you want to satisfy the customer, you cannot pay the claims inaccurately. So that's the real challenge that insurance company faces. Just to give you some examples of technology, so already my colleagues have spoken like how RP is helping on monotonous kind of activities. But when it comes to really intelligent activities, extraction of data through ICR, OCR, though efficiencies are not up to the level of 100% mark, but this extraction of data is helping in productivity. And if the data is accurately being captured, then the decision making using AI ML based models. So that is where, so if I have to give example of ICICI Lombard, today we give 60% plus cashless approvals within seconds to minutes using this AI ML models. So this is one use case. Similarly, on the motor side, we utilize ICR OCR to capture data as well as. Also, we are working on certain pilots to use the image of the damaged vehicle and to take a decision on what could be the loss assessment. So rather than a manual intervention. So these are some of the ways how claim management can be done better using technology. And of course, when it comes to fraud management, which is a very, very critical aspect of entire general insurance claim management. So unless you do effective fraud management, the industry profitability will go for a toss. Because this has got the impact of at least 10 to 15% on the bottom line of the industry. Again, to be very effective on fraud management, various models are being utilized. And these all models depend on the accuracy of the data that you are capturing. And again, using technology, you can be more accurate on data, as well as you can be more efficient on your models. And that's how you can manage both claims and fraud much more efficiently and pass on this benefit to the customer, so that whatever is the regulator's expectation, as well as whatever is the customer's expectation. And all this is helping us to drive this customer expectation also, that is trying to cut short the turnaround times. So if you see earlier claims were paid in days, months, now it has really cut short to, when it comes to cashless, it's in minutes, seconds to hours. Whereas if you go to reimbursement claims, they are typically, I think, around 10 days or less than that. So this is how things are changing.
Speed of processing, yeah, that's good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sanjay. Actually, I mean, looking at it from the other side, right, Shilpa, I would like to ask a question to you. So speed is definitely important. But what about fair treatment? Fair treatment of the claims from an insured angle, and I'm sure you have to marry a lot of non-numeric data to understand the pattern of the claim or things like this. So how does your organization, from some other perspective, harness this? No.
Thank you. So Insurance Samadhan is basically empowering policyholders to manage their insurance policies and also help them resolve their grievances. So as you are asking, we get a lot of non-numeric data in the form of PDF, images, handwritten notes, And via NLP and OCR, we are able to extract relevant data from this data that we are receiving. And by that, we improve the efficiency and speed of resolution for our customers. This data is also analyzed, and we are able to identify pattern and trends of the complaints through algorithms which are created in-house, and that help us to do 90% automation of the grievances. So only in 10% cases which are specific where an expert intervention is required, rest 90% of the cases moves via the data analysis. We also have seamless communication which is personalized with the policy holders via emails, via chatbots, via WhatsApp. So we are using every channel to communicate with the customers, and these are all personalized communication to improve and also this gives a lot of confidence to the customers, because we are on the side where customer is really agitated, the claim has been rejected, there is a delay in the claim, and some fraud or mis-selling has happened, he has lost the trust, and we are there to build the trust back again into the insurance system. So obviously
that's
digitalization really helps.
Are you going to rate any of these insurance companies on the speed, on the efficiency, on the fairness?
Maybe at a later stage. Currently we are small.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that is definitely heartening to know that there is someone who can take care of the grievances in a very fair way, so that there's an independent person who we can approach, right? That's very good. Moving on to Amitabh, thank you for joining us here. So as a healthcare management provider, right, so there were questions from the audience as well in the beginning, empowering the patient, right? I mean, how does technology help in empowering the patient? I mean, not just from a financial insurance cost perspective, but generally empowering as to what product to be taken, etc. So how does your organization play
Thank
here?
you. So let me take you through a live case study in terms of just try to visualize the scenario where how we at Medics are basically using or rather leveraging the AI or the algorithm based or digitization. Now let's say for example you have your coverage with a specific insurer, and let's say for example since we have tie-ups with insurance companies, we do a lot of services which are from medical case management, which are more from a preventative purposes. Now what happens in these cases is it's all about personalization. You cannot have a healthcare service provider which is giving you a one fit all product. So what we do is, now just to give you an example, just try and visualize you have an app in your hand which is like a one-stop command center for all your medical journey, for all your healthcare needs. And it starts right from the process where you log into the app, you're basically talking about certain HRAs. Now, the health risk assessment parameters. Now, this is entirely an algorithm-based AI-driven tool within the app, which is basically understanding your healthcare perspective from a 360-degree needs. For example, it's going to analyze what has been your family history, what has been your healthcare history, it can identify the risk factors. Now, once it does that, the next step is that it's going to, kind of tell us that, okay, you are at need for a specific healthcare need. Now, that could be that you are probably already suffering from a particular ailment, or through the HRAs, we can find out, through the algorithm-based HRAs, we can find out that there are certain markers which tell us that you are in need of prevention services. Now, all this is possible only through a digitization perspective. Only once you have something which is in your hand, you are going to get all the answers there itself. Now, this is just the beginning. Now, this is precisely how digitization plays a role in the healthcare industry as well. You're talking about, and I'm just giving you an example of an app that we use. There are various portal-based mechanisms as well. Now, once you complete this process, you are then basically going to connect with the doctor through the app itself. What we are essentially trying to say is that through the course of digitization, you have everything at your fingertips. It's not like, you need to, kind of for one particular purpose. So say, for example, if I'm suffering from a particular ailment, I probably have my doctor reports, my lab imaging reports, there are prescriptions. Now try to visualize the fact that everything is condensed into one particular app. That's the power of digitization that healthcare provides you. So right from the time that you basically fill in your HRA, try to understand, get personalized recommendations, because we do not give recommendations which are run of the mill. What we are trying to do is we are trying to understand exactly what the needs are, whether you are at risk of developing a particular ailment. That is just the starting point. From there, there's a doctor and nurse team that's assigned to you all through the app. This dedicated team is available to you at any point in time throughout the length of the service. You get notifications, prescribed medication. This is the power of digitization in a nutshell that can be had for you when you have an app-based system or a portal-based system for the healthcare scenario. Now, this is essentially the power of digitization. This is something that we have been seeing very strongly ever since we launched the app in India as well. And coming back to your question, sir, it's basically, I think that's the future. But what next? What is that one critical thing that is probably even missing in the app today? Integration with your insurer. Once you're able to do the integration of the healthcare app with your insurer in the best possible manner, you are basically starting your journey of the insurance product from day one. So at any point in time, you know for sure what is your health cover, what is the cover limits, what is the benefits, what are the reimbursements that are possible, what all is not possible, okay? Moving on to your medical journey within the app. So you have a 360-degree view of insurance as well as your healthcare benefits from your service provider. That is how essentially we are now trying to leverage the power of digitization in the healthcare sector. And this is exactly where insurers also have a very big role to play in that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you. I guess I didn't get into a lot of nitty-gritties of technology here. I was just traveling across multiple facets of the insurance, right? Are there any questions from the audience before we? Any questions? Yeah. Thanks. Yes. You can shout up if you want. Yeah. Only one question. Okay. Thanks.
So we talk about a lot of data, insurance data. We collect all the insurance data, claims data, all that, right? So one thing which we are not seeing is like, how is this data collected? Is it channeled basically to the government organizations? Example is, there's a lot of claims coming for a cancer care for, let's say, 2 panchayats, okay? How this information basically should go to a government agency saying that, okay, you basically have to look at it, there is some problem there, we're getting claims. Or let's say I'm getting a heart attack, post-COVID, we're basically getting a lot of heart attacks. Is there a reason for it? Okay, we need to basically do a research on that, right? Insurance firms basically get a lot of data, but they do not share the data back to the right agencies to basically look at it in detail. That gamut, that 360-degree circle, it should happen. Otherwise, we are basically not going to look at improving our healthcare at all.
Of course, you're absolutely right. Basically, the app that he was mentioning about, which gives a lot of information and connectivity, but what you're talking about is having an individual or individuals in a certain locality having some specific challenges, which the data is being collected by many of the insurers because they are paying claims or maybe they are insuring newer risks. That needs to be sent. See, the technologies like blockchains, because this also involves a lot of personal information of the individual should not be shared across. At the same time, it should be shared in a way that it gives some insights for the, let's say, the insurance community or for healthcare community or for the community development community, right? So blockchain technology probably will be an answer where a central authority, let's say IRDA, may mandate, or maybe an authority beyond IRDA also, because it also covers areas in terms of community development as well, right? So in those cases, I don't think any country has come to that stage of sharing information across multiple departments. But having a unique ID for an individual is number one important, right? So to ensure that you are not sending the information of Maha, but the profile of Maha without naming Maha, right? So blockchain technology can be an answer, but this needs to be developed as an application. Yes, you want to add anything?
I just want to add to this. Basically, there's something called IIB, Insurance Information Bureau, which is a sub-part of, it works under IRDA. So every claim every data point that insurance company has, both life and general, is reported to IB. All data point lies with them. But as an insurance company, we cannot just go out to any entity and share our data. Of course, data is masked in an appropriate way. So all government bodies can freely through IRDA take data and do whatever appropriate action as desired.
Thanks. Thank you. I mean, that's a very good community type of question, which I appreciate that. Okay, so we don't have any more time. I'm sorry. Okay, so I thank all the panelists. Thanks for taking your time and answering the questions. And I hope it was very insightful to those who are attending here. Thank you. Thank you.